brother! Okay, so we've done a fair amount of sorting characters from other fandoms into Harry Potter houses, but what about the Harry Potter characters? What houses do they belong into? No, wait, we already know that.
Okay, relax.
But more importantly, where do they belong inside of other fandoms? Specifically today, which element would each character be able to bend if they existed in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender? Like, are all the Slytherins just Fire Nation soldiers? Is Harry a peacekeeping air nomad like Aang? And how well do the houses match up with their own associated elements within the Harry Potter lore? Honestly, these are two of my favorite fandoms of all time, so I'm super excited to just, dive off of a Sky Bison into this and cannot wait to hear how much y'all disagree with me down in the towel section below. Yip yip! Okay, so the first thing we need to address, because I know otherwise every comment will be about it, is that the 4 Hogwarts houses are already associated with one of the 4 elements. Ravenclaw, predictably, is air, Slytherin is water, Gryffindor is fire, and Hufflepuff is baked goods, or sorry, earth.
Why is it always me?
What? No, Neville, it's not always you, but in this case. That said though, these particular elements don't really play much role in the overall Harry Potter story as it relates to houses, other than maybe the locations of the common rooms. Like, Slytherin is under the lake, Hufflepuff is underground, Ravenclaws are up in a tower, and Gryffindor has fireplaces, I guess? I mean, so do the other ones, but sure. But that was a fun day for the school governors. Like, listen, fellows, each house matches their element perfectly. The Gryffindors must be in the furnace room. It's the only place heavily associated with fire in the castle. Then Harry's agent kicks in the door, just poof. Now listen, governors, Mr. Harry James Potter, you may know him as the boy who lived, but in this office we simply refer to him as TCO. That's the chosen one. Let me be real plain, and I do hope you'll hear this with the gravity it deserves. My client will not, and I repeat, will not be conducting his academic career sitting 2 feet from a howling, benching, wheeze box of a furnace that sounds like it's haunted. We are talking about a young man with real main character energy. Let's get TCO and his housemates, yes, them too, somewhere with the fireplace. Not inside the fireplace. Wow, got a topic. Not really sure why. I think Harry's agent is a Southern lawyer, but apparently he is. Well, that's Atticus Fenwick IV to you, attorney at Wand. Here's my card. I also represent toddlers if any of your children have any cursed scars, anything like that. How do you think I even met Harry in the first place? Very off topic. What I'm trying to say though is that even though sometimes it actually will work out in accordance with the house element relationships, we try not to let that guide us very much in these decisions. Because how each is determined in the different universes is very different. Bending is more of a genetic thing rather than a personality thing, where many different personality types exist inside of a specific elemental culture, rather than in Harry Potter, where culture in the houses is derived from your shared personality type. But all that to say, there's a lot of very fun mixing and matching we get to do today, so let's just dive on in. First up, probably the most obvious, Harry is the Avatar. Duh.
But I am the chosen one.
Or TCO, whatever suits your fancy. Harry could for sure control all 4 elements, and even throughout the story, we get good looks at how he's so very well-rounded and powerful. For air, he's clearly a good flyer. That's his most natural talent. Then for fire, his wand core is a phoenix feather, a burn born from fire, and Harry eventually goes on to shoot golden fire out of his wand. Then for water, we see Harry spend the entire second task underwater, quickly adapting to the new environment and even being the first to the hostages, despite not having any plan at all until 10 minutes beforehand. And for earth, we need look no further than his Patronus form, the stag, commonly revered as the king of the forest, which to me counts for Earth. But speaking of Patronuses, I mean, I know other characters can cast them, but Harry's does seem extra powerful and impressive, and the glow of a Patronus reminds me a lot of the Avatar state, especially because James can transform into a stag, and then this is like the stag reborn, and like the Avatar cycle is like a cycle of rebirth. Plus, then on top of that, while I do think Aang and Harry are pretty different personality-wise, they do both die and come back to life. Aang gets struck by lightning, Harry has a lightning scar, and let's face it, this one just clicks. Next! All right, let's talk about Ron Weasley, who I think is hands down an earthbender. I mean, Weasley is a reference to weasels, which literally live underground in a burrow, which is the name of Ron's house. You know how houses all have names. I know mine does. The Hornburg! But the burrow is also home to other ground-dwelling gnomes, as well as a huge overgrown and overflowing garden. Like, whenever we read about the burrow, I always feel like I've got like dirt under my fingernails, you know, but like in a good way, like the best way.
You've got dirt on your nose, by the way. Did you know?
But on top of that, Ron is literally Harry's rock, the foundational friendship Harry builds his whole life around in the wizarding world. He keeps Harry grounded, and I have no doubt he can be summoning walls of dirt to block that quaffle. Yeah! But that said, I actually don't think all of the Weasleys are earthbenders. Ginny, for example, I think for sure firebender.
Reducto!
Need I say more? I will! Ginny has a very fiery personality type and is not afraid to speak her mind. I mean, once she starts speaking, that's not until like book 4 or 5, but she flares up all the time at Ron and even at Hermione, and that passion is what Harry loves about her. Firebender.
Got it!
As are her older brothers, Fred and George. Need I say more? I will! It's easy to just think of firebenders as the evil henchmen, but it's really not fair. They have a much more vibrant culture than that. And one thing that the Fire Nation is particularly known for is being innovators of technology. And the fact then that the twins innovate fireworks specifically is, you know, just the cherry on top. I guess while we're at it, I'm also gonna say Charlie is fire as well because, you know, dragons. Well done, dragon! And Bill is earth because, you know, working underground, searching for treasure all the time, and the bank Gringotts is all underground. Like, that makes sense. It's earth. Which actually, when I think about it, I guess the genetics of the Weasley family work out pretty well here. Like, if the parents are at least split, and I, in fact, would say that Molly would be a firebender.
Not my daughter, Lorem Ipsum.
Witch. I bet it was witch. And Arthur is earth. Oh, right, Percy. Yeah, no, he can't bend at all. Next, Severus Snape, a waterbender if ever I saw one. This is where the whole like Slytherin water thing actually lines up really well, because as the ultimate triple agent, Snape has to be able to flow with whatever situation presents itself. He must shape himself into whatever bottle he's poured into, and he does this flawlessly. For that matter, and rather conveniently, he's also the potions master, and potions are just liquids you're manipulating, so that works pretty good. Water is also the element that is most easily used for good or bad. It has a bunch of different sub-bending techniques, including blood bending, which is literally bending the blood inside another person, which is just like super duper evil. But then it also has healing, which we also know Snape is very good at. Keeping on the Slytherin theme though, I think we can also say Barty Crouch Jr. is a water bender. I mean, he literally morphs from shape to shape between himself and Moody, and he too must also adapt to every situation he's in on a dime. He's also victim of the Harry Potter version of bloodbending, the Imperious Curse, for over a decade, and then he and Voldemort put the same curse on his father. So yeah, waterbender. But y'all, we need to take a brief pause right there to give a special thank you to today's sponsor, Aura Frames. Mother's Day is just on the horizon, and the one thing your mom wants more than a phone call, okay, well, nothing, but Aura Frames comes pretty darn close. We here at SuperCarlinBrothers love Aura Frames. It's a digital picture frame that looks beautiful anywhere, has unlimited photo storage, and is so easy to add new photos to it, and is like a constant talking point. I have one at my house. Our parents have one. Ben's family has one. They're actually everywhere. And like, I'm actually connected to the one at my dad's office, and I can just add photos to it whenever I want from wherever I am. So he doesn't have to like worry about updating and getting new pictures of the kids. And like any family, we've got the family group chat, and wherever we're on a trip or doing something fun, you know, we'll share some photos, but those tend to get buried over time, and we're usually only sending a select few. But Aura frames make it so easy to share all the latest happenings with your family. From my living room, I can plop down, select all my favorite photos from a weekend outing, and with a few clicks, I can send them to our own frame, our parents, Ben's, anyone who has an invite link. Sometimes I just send weird pictures to Ben's. It's a great way to share all of life's moments, and they make it so easy. Plus, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, our viewers can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on the best-selling Carver matte frame. That's auraframes.com, promo code SCB. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Link in the description down below. Right, I'm just gonna send that to Ben.
What the?
But not all the waterbenders are bad. Let me know what you think about this one. Lupin is a waterbender. And I know, at first you might not think so, but Lupin is indeed also a natural healer, like think all of the chocolate he always has on the ready. But also, and way more importantly, is his relationship with the moon. Waterbenders get their bending from the moon, and of course, Lupin transforms under the full moon. Waterbender. But if we're talking about Lupin, we may as well talk about Sirius too, who is not a waterbender, but almost 100% a firebender.
Nice one, James!
I'd put James in here too, in case you're wondering, but we know him a lot less, so let's just keep on Sirius for now, because if there is a more hot-headed character in the whole series than Sirius, you know, you guys can let me know. You let me know. But he literally shows up as nothing but a head of fire at one point.
Did you or did you not put your name into the goblet of fire?
No. That's rough, buddy.
And then Bellatrix kills him. Which has nothing to do with this, but I thought I'd say it. Somehow Bellatrix doesn't seem like she would bend an element, does she? I'm gonna give Bellatrix waterbender too, because she's got that whole, like, the Cruciatus is like her thing, and that's very bloodbendy, like, you know? But Sirius is a very wand first, ask questions later kind of character. Always ready for action, always wants to be in the thick of it, and always ready for a battle. Firebender.
Done beautifully. Now let me take it from here.
I suppose we should round off the Marauders while we're here, and Peter, I think, would be an earthbender. I mean, he's hardly more than a ball of dirt to begin with, and I think that's being pretty generous, but like whenever he's on page, you feel like you have like dirt under your fingernails, you know, but like not in a good way, like in the worst way. Like when you miss with the toilet paper.
But I don't talk about that.
On the complete and utter opposite end of the spectrum, though, then we have Hagrid, who I also think would absolutely be an earthbender.
Sorry about that.
But like, think of every single way that Peter is an earthbender, and then basically think of every single opposite. That's Hagrid. Like, this is Peter as dirt, and this is Hagrid as dirt. Peter as dirt?
That is one big pile.
Soup! Hagrid.
I got a jar of dirt, I got a jar of dirt, and guess what's inside it?
You get it. I mean, Hagrid has his moleskin overcoat, Peter has rat skin.
Hermione's got nice skin.
Not now, Ronald. Jeez. You know what, I take it back. Peter can't bend. There's no, nah.
Run along, one toe.
Moving on, do we have any airbenders yet? No, we don't. Let's talk about them. Okay, so out of the gate, the easiest one I think is Luna Lovegood. I mean, Luna's probably the airiest character in the entire series. Her hair literally floats around her head like cotton candy. Like, she is not very tied down to any one single belief, willing to let her mind wander and drift, and is very open to different possibilities.
Experts.
Hermione and Ginny touched down on either side of him. Both slid off their mounts a little more gracefully than Ron, though with similar expressions of relief at being back on firm ground. Neville jumped down, shaking, but Luna dismounted smoothly. "Where do we go from here then?" she asked Harry in a politely interested voice, as though this was all a rather interesting day trip. It didn't say it there, but she slides down after riding side saddle. Like, who does that on a thestral? Also, she commentates Quidditch. Airbender. Actually, now that I think about it, she's probably just like letting Cho play Seeker out of kindness, but quietly would trounce everyone up there. Yeah, that's my new headcanon. She wouldn't even chase the snitch, you know? It would just land in her outstretched hand and she'd be like, "Oh, hello there."
The things we lose have a way of coming back to us in the end.
Our next airbender is Victor Crumb. Yeah, bet you thought he'd be a firebender, didn't ya? Actually, I bet you didn't think we'd cover such a side character as Crumb in this video, but here we are. Crumb is definitely most at home in the air, and it's where he feels the happiest, and he's so good at flying that he's the youngest player.
In a century, according to McGonagall.
No, Harry, no, that's you. Youngest player at the World Cup. Even more in his argument for the air, though, is how uncomfortable he seems to be on the ground. Harry noticed that he seemed much less coordinated on the ground. He was slightly duck-footed and distinctly round-shouldered. But while in the air, it's a different story. Victor Crumb was thin, dark, and sallow-skinned, with a large curved nose and thick black eyebrows. He looked like an overgrown bird of prey. Not gonna lie, you guys, finding airbenders was for sure the trickiest part of this video. But for the record, I would also put Trelawney, Xenophilius, and Cho in this category. I mean, after all, she does support the Tornadoes, and not since they just got good last season. I mean, I asked her if she wanted to go to a Tornadoes game back in 2010, and we all know they sucked that season, and she was like,
I've said I'll go.
and you know what? We had a lovely time. We had shaved ice afterwards, and then she started crying about, something. Went a bit south after that. It's funny because it's not funny, you guys. Come on. Anyway, somehow we have not talked about Hermione yet, and I must say also kind of tricky, but ultimately, hear me out, Firebender.
My father!
I mean, just a very simple tie to the element itself. One of Hermione's signature spells is just her little bluebell jar of fire that she conjures up oh so often. But more to the point is the burning passion Hermione has for whatever it is she is focused on, which, I mean, more often than not, is school.
She needs to sort out her priorities.
But all that eventually starts leaking out into SPEW, to Dumbledore's army, to hating Ron, to loving Ron, to punching Draco, and of course, fighting Voldemort. Yes, it is. While we're back on fire, I also think Dumbledore is an obvious firebender. I mean, big Avatar Roku energy, if you ask me. Like, kind, old, bearded master of the generation before, guiding the new Avatar towards the light. But then also, Dumbledore just freaking loves fire. I mean, for one, he owns a phoenix. He starts a secret organization named after it, uses it to attack the Inferi in an impressive inferno, I might add, and then also escapes the Ministry by traveling through it in style. And then you just know because he screams about goblets of it.
Harry, you put your
With a bucket of
name in the goblet of fire.
And that, of course, just leaves Big V, which, of course, was kind of tricky, but also kind of not, because, like, here's the thing about Avatar. The Avatar themselves is reborn over and over because they are fused with the spirit of light, Rava. Rava is part of the glow and how each avatar can communicate with their past lives. But Rava also has a counterpoint, Vatu, the spirit of darkness, who, with the aid of the first avatar, Juan, Rava was able to lock away for 10,000 years. That's why the two ended up fusing together, because they were stronger that way. But 10,000 years later, during something called harmonic convergence, and during everyone's absolute favorite season of Korra, Vatu breaks out and fuses with his own human, becoming a dark avatar. And I'm sorry, but if Harry is the avatar, then Voldemort is for sure Vatu and the dark avatar, also capable of controlling all the elements, and we see it too. I mean, when fighting Dumbledore, he creates that huge snake of fire, plus he too has the Phoenix core in his wand, and he can fly of his own accord without a broomstick, that covers air. Then he's the master of the Chamber of Secrets, an underground lair for Earth, and he also creates an entire lake full of Inferi for water. So yeah, Dark Avatar. But there you go, guys. That's which element each Harry Potter character would bend. Did we leave anyone out? And do you agree or disagree with me? Let us know in the towel section down below. But guys, as always, thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to leave a like on it if you haven't already, and subscribe so you don't miss any future Avatar or Harry Potter action from us. If you want to see why Ty Lee is actually an air nomad, you can check out this video right here. But otherwise, Ben, until next time, I will see you in another life, brother. I also represent toddlers if any of y'all looking to get into the baby wizard modeling business. Don't say that.